Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to request that we adjourn in memory of my grandmother, Lillian Gabriel, who passed away on October 22nd at the age of 92. My grandma Lillian was a strong, confident, outspoken, warm, and immensely loyal woman who was a pillar of our family and her community for more than 9 decades. Born into a poor immigrant family during the Great Depression, my grandma was asked at a young age to assume major responsibilities for her family, many of whom, including her own father, were undocumented and lacked language skills and formal education. These childhood experiences deeply impacted my grandma and instilled in her a strength and confidence that she carried with her throughout her life. Shortly after graduating from high school, Lillian married my grandfather Lester, her beloved partner of almost 60 years, and they moved from Brooklyn, New York here to Sacramento to start a new life. In California, my grandparents found new opportunities and worked hard to establish a family and support their community. Despite caring for 2 children with serious and chronic health challenges that often left them hospitalized, my grandma was determined to earn a college degree and ultimately graduated with both a bachelor's and a master's degree from Sacramento State University. Undeterred by barriers and social norms that kept many women of her generation out of the workforce, Lillian enthusiastically pursued her passions for art, history, and teaching. A lifelong learner with an entrepreneurial spirit, my grandma was an instructor at 2 local community colleges and later owned and ran her own small business, a successful art gallery that she operated out of a spare bedroom in my grandparents' home in Carmichael. My grandma was also deeply connected to her Jewish identity and devoted countless hours to volunteer leadership positions in numerous Jewish civic and charitable organizations. In particular, she was always concerned with the welfare of the poor and the vulnerable and was passionate about civil rights and social justice, what we refer to in Hebrew as tikkun olam. Whether it was exploited farm workers in the Central Valley or persecuted Jews in the Soviet Union, she always made a point to work for causes and issues that mattered to her and challenged our entire family to think about how we could play a role in addressing society's most pressing inequities. Lillian was also passionate about politics and a talented campaigner. Fortunately for me, after my grandfather's passing, she moved to a retirement community in the San Fernando Valley, which inevitably became my top-performing precinct. In election years, my grandma would walk the halls and stop people at meals, ensuring no matter how her fellow residents felt about national politics, it was understood they were going to vote for her grandson for state assembly. Unsurprisingly, I attribute much of my own interest in politics and government to my grandma's influence, and I'd like to think that had she been born into a different family at a different moment in history, she might have been a member of this body. In addition to being a deep thinker and a passionate activist, my grandma was also wonderfully warm and engaging with a playful and sometimes rebellious spirit. As a young child, I remember sitting in synagogue with her during the high holidays, where we would discreetly play poker and other card games during the services, hiding the cards in between the pages of the prayer book while others prayed. She was also a talented cook and baker, a woman who loved opera, art, theater, good books, good meals, and especially time with family. Ultimately, my grandma was blessed with a long, full, and rich life. She traveled widely, argued passionately, and built deep bonds with a wide circle of friends and family, including her 3 great-grandsons. I feel immeasurably blessed to have had her by my side as a friend, confidant, travel companion, role model, and teacher for over 40 years. My grandma Lillian will be deeply missed, but I know that her memory will be a blessing for our family and her community, and I respectfully request that we adjourn today in her memory.